Hi everybody, it's me again. Sorry I haven't been here for a few days. I got a flu, all the crazy things, and lost my voice, otherwise I probably would have filmed something, but I've got it back mostly. I sound a little funny, but you should have heard me a couple days ago. Today I'm going to talk about a little book that I wrote, a little kid's book. It's funny because I've wanted to write a book for so long and I've tried a bunch of times, like a grown-up book, because I've had such a crazy cool life. And I tried NaNoWriMo a couple of times, wrote like 100,000 words. NaNoWriMo is National November Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, where you write every day. It no longer exists, but it was a good motivator to sit down behind the computer and write every day. I just didn't like what I wrote or the style that it was. Whatever. Anyways, so I've tried a few times, don't like it. And then I realized I could tell all the stories that I ever wanted to tell in a book. I could tell them this way, little bits at a time. And I have really cool stories to tell you, but we're going to break it all up. And right now, I ended up writing a book. And this is the book. It's Scars Make the Story. This is the book. And it's, if you can see, this is the dog. This little monkey right here is who the book is about. And I wanted to finish the book before I started the podcast. It was kind of like my little portal of putting myself out there. I mean, I've put myself out there before, but this is completely different what we're doing here. And completely different. And I needed something as a buffer. And if any of you have seen my intro video, I live in Jasper, where 2 years ago, not last summer, but the summer before, we had a massive fire that took out a third of our town and took out a huge amount of the park. And, I think the town has this collective trauma. I am one of the lucky ones, so I'm not actually allowed to complain. That's a self-imposed rule, but we live on the side of town where nothing got burnt. And my heart absolutely is broken for the people that are dealing with rebuilding and all the craziness of parks and insurance and the bureaucracies and the hoops you got to jump through. So I have nothing to complain about. But we did go through this collective trauma of evacuating our town and being out of our town for almost a month when we were, packed for 3 days. That was what we were told to pack for. I mean, and who's to know that it was going to be that crazy? But the book that I wrote, we ended up getting this dog. She was born actually around the same time that we were allowed to come back into town. I think maybe a week or so after we were allowed to come back into town was her birth date. So she was born just as we started this new life, in a very scarred up community. And she came with scars of her own. So she was born in a culvert with 12 puppies, and she was one of 12 siblings, 12 puppies. And we got her at the SPCA, and she has a scar on her leg, and my town is all scarred up. And there's a lot of psyches in this town that are very scarred up. And I felt like I needed to do something to address this. And in my pathologically Marta way, to try and spin the whole thing so that we can try and look at the positive, because anyways, I've said this to people, but when we were evacuated and I saw a picture of the Anglican church burning, it was the exact same image of the tower card in tarot. And at that moment, before I knew what was actually happening, and when I actually thought that the whole town was burning, because there was a point in our evacuation where there was a rumor going around that the whole town had burnt. And I thought, oh my God, this is our collective tower moment. And in the tarot, the tower card is something that shakes your world up, something unpleasant that forces you out of that sort of autopilot mode. And I still kind of think it was our tower moment. And if you, I don't know if those pictures of the Anglican Church on fire are still on the Google machine, if you can see it, but whoa, does it ever look like the tower moment? Anyways, so about the book. I will read you a tiny little bit, and you can buy it. I have a Shopify account that you can go on there and you can buy it, and I'll ship it out to you. So I wrote it. I tried to make it Dr. Seuss sort of a vibe, like I wanted it to have that flow to it. And I tried illustrating it twice before this final attempt, and I hated my illustrations the first time, and I shelved it. And I hated my illustrations the second time, shelved it. And then I wanted to start a podcast, and I thought, you're not going to start this podcast until you finish this book that's been sitting in your brain and written on it was sitting on my phone, all written out. And it was like, I know I needed to get this out so that I could set myself up with a success before I moved on to this phase of my life. There is a bunch of stores in Jasper that you can buy it at. Barefoot in the Park has probably the most, and they have been absolutely amazing at selling it. The Takara Color has some. Friends of Jasper National Park have some. The museum has some. There's a couple of hotels. The Athabee has some, and the Jasper Inn. There's Ransom also has some books, and incidentally, Bug's sister Mabel, who used to be called Jersey when she was at the SPCA, her human parents own Ransom, so you can buy some of these at Ransom too. Basically, it's so funny because when I wanted to write my other books, I was always concerned about, I got to get a publisher, blah, 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 blah. And this one, I have a background in design, and I ended up illustrating it, laying it out, finding my own printer, getting it printed, and it hasn't even been a month since I got it back, and I have maybe 10 books left, so I'm gonna have to do a second print, especially if you guys decide to buy some on my Shopify store. But I will read you a little part of the book, and I have it dedicated. Here's my dedication. Here's Bug when we first got her at the house, and you can see her little scars in her little pink belly when she first came. Right now, this is her. She's a little bit disappointed because she thought she was going out for a walk. Well, didn't trigger anything. So now she's just an angry donut. Actually, not angry, but so this book is dedicated to the Jasper Volunteer Fire Department, who stayed behind here and literally went through hell. Literally, like from some of the stories I've heard, it was literal hell here during the fire. So thank you to the Jasper Fire Department. And Morgan Kitchen, who is the young firefighter who lost his life protecting our town. And very tragic. And this town owes him an amazing, unbelievable debt of gratitude. So, and also the people of Jasper, because, man, we went through some shit together. Sorry, kiddos, if anybody's watching as a kid. So I will read to you the first few pages. In a culvert one morning, without any warning, Josie the dog, observed by a frog, was hiding down there. Hot, panting, and wet, avoiding all threats, no time for regrets. 12 puppies she had, all wriggly and wet, all by herself, with that big squirmy set. Oh, and the frog. What a slog. It just sat there agog. There was Jasper the Large, all big and in charge, Jersey the Spotted, brown, white, and all dotted, Johnny and Jasmine the White, a sunny delight, Junior and Jem the Tiny, brown, white, and all shiny, and right in the middle was Junebug the Small, with scars on her leg, no worries at all. She wobbled, she bobbled, she bounced everywhere, and when it was time, she'd snuggle with care. Needless to say, 12 pups in a culvert was all work and no play. The frog was no help. It just staring and blinking. Josie was tired. She'd had it with thinking. Here's a picture of Josie in the culvert with all 12 puppies and the frog. Just sitting there, agog. When the SPCA came, Josie gave a glad yelp. At last, some relief, some wonderful help. She could finally rest, take naps, and relax while all the nice humans handled the pack. The pups kept growing, getting more wild. The SPCA made each pup bright and styled. Family after family came through the door, each looking for friendships and perhaps something more. And here is all the 12 puppy pictures. Then we came from Jasper, our hearts open wide, sat down on the floor, ready for a new ride, and then the attack. One took a shoe, one bit a nose, one pulled some hair, one ripped some clothes. They climbed, they tugged, they scrambled and flipped, all shouting their loudest, "Pick me!" manuscript. There. That's actually my daughter getting her nose ring pulled out by one of the pups. But one little pup stood out from the fray, quietly watching as chaos gave way. She tucked in behind us, her head on a knee, her eyes big and soft. Was she picking me? The sweetness, the calm, the gentle intent. Right in that moment, we knew what it meant. Junebug was her name, but now she was Bug. She chose our family and shared a big hug. Oh. And that's all I'm going to read for you. Here she is, all snuggly. Just kind of like now, except now she's not behind me. That was her trick. She would come up behind us. So if you want to read the rest, it's all Jasper specific pictures. Every picture is a Jasper picture. And if you've been to the town, you'll recognize them. This is Morrow Peak right here, and that's Hawk Mountain, and that's the highway going into the town. And on the back is Bug sitting in a field of fireweed, because that's what it is. Tis the season next spring, I hope. So an extra thing to know is that 10% of all the profits that I make from this book are going to go to the Jasper Volunteer Fire Department, and 10% are going to go to the Hinton SPCA, because they're the two big players that make things right in this particular story. So there's also a couple of coloring pages in the back for kiddos that are traveling, and they're all Jasper. So I have Roche Bonhomme, which is Old Man, Mountain, Pyramid with a moose, Old Man with a couple of bears, Edith Cavell with a fox, and Angel Glacier at Edith Cavell with a raven. So your kiddos can have fun coloring their own Jasper. And I hope it's a message about resilience and looking for the bright side of things in life. And you see that in the second half of the book, but you're going to have to buy it if you want to see the big message, big moral of the story. And Bug says hello. Bug says goodbye. Bug says high five. And thanks for watching another episode of Orbit. Love you all, and I hope that you come back. Subscribe. I promised myself I wouldn't ask people to subscribe, but that's how it keeps moving along, and hopefully other people start to pick it up, and the algos try and push it to other like-minded people like you. So I will not be promoting this on social media myself, since I'm not on social media. And I hope that it organically grows, but I think it might need subscriptions and likes for that to happen. So I would be very grateful if you do, and if not, just come back sometime. Hopefully you like it. All right? There's all kinds of stuff I'm going to be talking about. I have, like, this is my orbit, but there's about 50 different orbits around me, and I am going to focus on about 5 or 6 of them. So come back anytime. Next time my voice will be better. All right. Thanks for flying. See you guys later. Bye.